A blessed day to everyone. Our reflection for today is about the readings for this third Sunday of Lent. For the first reading, we are again reminded of God's commandments, the Ten Commandments in the book of Exodus. And if you have followed through the iPrep series on this channel, you can also recall the points that we have mentioned there about each of the commandments. Our Lord always guides us to what is good for ourselves, and He presents to us the commandments in order for us to be oriented in our life, because He knows too well that we are frail human beings and that sometimes our notion of good and evil can be affected. And so He presents us those commandments as pathfinders for us, so that we could know our path towards Him. The second reading tells us that the Jews were looking for miracles and the Greeks for a higher knowledge, while we, according to St. Paul's letter to the Corinthians, his first letter to the Corinthians, tells us that we proclaim a crucified Messiah. So our dear St. Paul tells us that our focus should be on the crucified Messiah. Last week, we had reflected on the transfiguration of our Lord. The icon is here at my back. And the Father also presents to us to Jesus so that we may always hear His words. And yet, in the Gospel for today, according to St. John chapter 2, verses 13 to 25, we are presented with another side of our Lord. He is not always smiling, but sometimes He gets angry. And you might ask, Father, is anger not a sin? Yes, it is, normally. But our Lord did not sin, of course. And was He angry? Yes. And so we may ask ourselves, what type of anger was it? It was a righteous anger. Why? Because He was sad and He was angry for the commercialization of worship that had happened during His time. Because instead of leading the people to God, those who were entrusted with the temple worship, the priests there in the temple, were only after their profits because of the commissions that they might have been receiving from those who have been selling animals for sacrifice, animals or even grains for sacrifice. And this brings us to the question, what has it to do with me? All of us have to always ask ourselves, what is my motive? What is my motive of doing what I am doing? For example, praying. Am I praying just because I am looking for something or asking for something? Or have I prayed just for the sake of giving thanks to the Lord? It is always good to ask ourselves, even our friendships. Do I make friends because I see only something which I can ask from this person? Or do I make friends sincerely because I want to share my life with them or to lead them to the Lord? The commercialization of worship is a very sad thing, especially when it becomes a trend. And all of us Christians, including us priests, nuns, bishops, all of us in the church, have to ask ourselves, are we using the name of the Lord our God in vain? Are we using Him for monetary purposes? Sometimes this question might be difficult to ask ourselves, but if we truly want to be renewed this Lenten season, especially when we are celebrating this year the 500th year of Christianity in the Philippines, we are called to conversion by our Lord in a very special way, so that our actions may not smack of selfishness, but rather selfishness. This is a lifetime task. It's not only during the Lenten season, but at least we may want to start now because time is short for those who love.